Yeah.
A whole
Yeah,
thing
we could
about
talk
it.
about whatever that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, my audio is not peaking, right?
No, you sound fine.
Okay. It was the last episode I edited. The audio was just the worst. I don't know. Like it was kind of fuzzy on your end, but then it was like peaking constantly on mine.
We had a lot of really weird issues last time.
Yeah, we didn't use Zencaster, so I think that was part of the problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't working. It wasn't that we like decided to just do something different for the heck of it.
Yeah.
But this is episode 20. That was a great way to start off this episode of the Podratix Gaming Cast. I'm Zach,
I'm Sophia.
and we didn't plan anything for tonight.
No. It's been so long. I was just like, we gotta do something.
Yeah, probably going to be a shorter episode. We'll try and keep to a shorter episode. We've gotten a little rambly about the news the last few, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I think we're going to try and have more distinct segments moving forward, but for now, this is very off the cuff, so we're just doing a thing tonight.
Yeah. I'm not saying that like we shouldn't talk about the news at all, but
Right,
like
right.
if we try and like keep it to a briefer segment and focus
Yeah,
more on
it's hard when there's a direct though. That's like,
yeah. Well, I maybe going forward we can try and use the direct as like a springboard to talk about like hot
yeah,
topics,
it's a good idea.
hot topics in gaming or whatever, and then historians can look back at us as an example of like the sorts of things that people were saying back in the day when things happened.
I think you were going to say something before we started. Was it relevant to the podcast? Something we should record?
Yeah, it's something that we've talked about before. So had been telling me about how you set up your Xbox with like your mouse and keyboard, and how
Yeah, to
you're like
my monitor.
just like navigating the operating system using that. And I
Right.
was going to say that I just think that's like that's the coolest concept ever. Is just like a console that is also like that is a computer technically.
Yeah.
And like I it's kind of a weird comparison, but like it fills me with like the same kind of feeling that like the 3DS does in that like it is it being like a device that is like primarily for playing games, but it is also like a tool with like apps and things like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
apps and stuff like that.
Right. That was something the DSi actually kind of started, but the 3DS like really did a good job with.
Yeah.
Much better job with. But yeah, it was really nice, and getting like I have a 4K TV, but it only has like 60 hertz compatibility, which I mean like only 60 hertz, but yeah, I mean that's fine for like single player games. But I have a 144 hertz monitor, so it was like cool to get the full like 1080p 120 FPS mode from this console that's like only $500. Like I can't get that out of my like $1,000 gaming PC because the components are just getting old now.
Yeah.
Or really just the GPU.
I think like honestly that is one of the coolest things about the Xbox. Like that is the biggest thing that I would want from it, is because like it is so close to a PC that like with services like Game Pass, you can basically play PC games, like you can stream them to your console, right?
Right.
So like it's just like it blows my mind. It's like this it feels like the penultimate console. Like how do you how I have no idea how they could possibly top it. They could make it better and faster, I guess. But like this feels like it for like a really long time. This feels like it's going to have staying power.
Right. I guess we just got to wait for the games to start flowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had like a really good second half of last year. And then this year has been a little weak, which has been fine because the Switch has been having a great first quarter. So Um, but yeah, I mean, because yeah, what are we getting? Like Redfall and Starfield, I think,
Hmm.
are the only like two confirmed. Forza Motorsport 8 might make it this year, but I know that's not one that you're going to be super interested in.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, like it's that like back catalog, right? The
right,
you
right.
know because they've been working so hard to like bring that forward, and I know like there's been some controversy about how oh my gosh we're talking about the news again. They recently like wrapped up support. Like they weren't not going to bring any older games or any more games forward
Yeah.
from their back catalog. But just the fact that they have made an effort to bring anything back, as far as the
Right,
original
right.
Xbox, is incredible, and that gives it like that gives it an immense value.
Right. And especially considering like, that was stuff they never planned on doing. That was all like software based stuff.
Hmm.
And obviously now with like the Xbox One, everything just works, and from this point on, like everything, all of your games moving forward are just going to keep running from generation to the next. So
It's really I don't know. It just
yeah,
it feels special in a weird way, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
Because like honestly, I haven't been playing a lot of like actual Series X games on it.
mm,
It's been mostly like original Xbox 360 and Xbox One games. Because the other thing is like the Series X runs. If any game Xbox One game was patched for the One X, you instantly get that patch as well.
hmm,
So like even some games, like I didn't have a One X, now it's like this game that I really liked on, at 1080p or something on, the original Xbox One now, is 4K, and that's really cool. So
that's amazing.
yeah, it's a really nice like legacy console box that one day will have a really really great library. I think. I hope,
Yeah,
as long as they can get their studios managed better.
yeah.
They keep having issues like what the oh gosh, no, I don't want to get into this because it's it's more news and topical stuff. We should move away from that.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should.
Should talk about that.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear about it, and you were almost going to start telling me a bunch of stuff about it yesterday. I was like, we should probably wait for
Yeah.
for the podcast. So
I don't know how they're going to top this one. I don't know how they can go back to making classic Souls games. I guess
hmm.
I can kind of see them, going back, maybe taking some things from this and like moving it forward. But this it and it's also hard not to like make the obvious comparison that it's like, oh, it's Dark Souls and Breath of the Wild. But it's like
Right.
the thing is that like Breath of the Wild is like the culmination of everything from the series, like refined to like a polished sheen, and everything about the Souls series refined and polished, and those two things put together.
Mm. Yeah, and they're both like two of the most open looking open world games as well.
Hmm.
Um, because like I mean, just with my limited time with Dark Souls and Bloodborne, um, the whole idea of just like having this persistent world where you can just kind of go, well, I don't want to go here yet, and then just go somewhere else and find some new secret area. Like that feels like it would work really well in an open world setting.
Hmm.
That feels like it would transition really well.
Yeah, and it really does. It's incredible, like the way that they've like split it off. Like it just works so organically. So you have this open world where you can kind of go anywhere and do whatever. There's like tons of secrets. It never feels like there's like useless empty space. Like they're
Mm.
like enemy camps. There are dungeons. There are um, uh, they're landmarks. They're like weird giant bosses, like or just like big regular enemies.
Mm.
it's all over the place. Um, and it, it being so open affords you like this really fun way of like tackling any situation, and you have the freedom to just kind of look everywhere, look anywhere, and if something's not working out, you just kind of wander off in a different direction,
Yeah,
and
that's
find
such a
something
cool
else
idea.
amazing and incredible. But then the they're like castles, which are a lot. They are more linear than the open world, but they are still like really open. And I think
Hmm.
part of that comes to the fact that now you have an actual jump button. The way it worked before is like you could do a running jump, um,
Right.
but
Which I didn't discover until like hours
oh
in.
gosh, yeah, you could jump, um, and you no more chest high walls. You can jump on top of the wall and get on the other side of it, and there's usually if you like creep around like the siding, you'll find something, or it will take you
That's so
somewhere.
cool.
Um,
Yeah, and one of the I was just gonna say with Dark Souls and Bloodborne, like one of my favorite things about the exploration in those games was just finding the enemies, like the new weird enemy
mhm.
types. The like both of those games gave you such a good feeling of like just complete mystery of like what you're gonna find around the next corner, and just with enemies, like not with like Ubisoft style collectibles and stuff, just like new, unique, weird things to discover like that.
Yeah,
Uh, which is honestly one of my issues with Breath of the Wild that I mentioned before. But um, like enemy variety can give so much flavor and sense of like exploration to a game.
hmm
So I'm excited. I'm kind of getting excited to play Elden Ring, even though
yeah. It is. It really feels special. It feels like it is. Like I said earlier, it is the Soul series polished and refined, um,
mm,
in all of its best ways. It is a Souls game, so it is still very hard, but
right,
there are a lot of quality of life improvements that make it much more of a forgiving experience, um, for people who are not as familiar with the series.
right. And again, difficulty was never my issue with it. It was always like the immense amounts of time wasted, like trekking
hmm
back to bosses or getting stuck in certain areas.
Um, so that's another one of my favorite things. There are actually two things that make that less of an issue. One is that uh, boss fights are usually close to the bonfire. They're called points of grace.
Mm,
Um, and if there's not a bonfire nearby, there is a thing called a stake of America that you can spawn at. There's like there are these like effigies like scattered throughout the world, that if you were like within a radius of it, if you die, you have the option of respawning at that. And you don't get to sit at the bonfire and like level up and adjust your flasks and things like that, but it does reset everything and allows you to spawn
mm,
close to a boss or a difficult enemy.
okay.
And it's just like it's insane like how much of a difference that makes, because the only thing that you have to wait for is for the game to finish loading, and then you are like you can run back up to the boss and try again.
Oh wow, wow. So I guess my next question is, how many hours do you have in this one already?
That's a little hard to answer because I've started a few different playthroughs, which is not uncommon. It's usually a good idea to start a few playthroughs and like make it a little further each time in the series.
Oh
Because
really?
yeah, because you know when you start playing, you don't really know what you're doing. You don't know the mechanics. You don't know where items are. You don't know how to optimize your build, or even like what sort of build works for you. So you kind of start.
Hmm.
You just start going in a direction, and you find out, okay, well, maybe this isn't working for me, but I've learned enough. I've learned, a few things. I've learned where some items are, and like I could reasonably get to those now that I know where they are. So you start a build, and you kind of start specking into a direction that you feel starts to work better, and you just make a little bit more progress each time. So I've started like maybe five playthroughs, and
Like,
I eventually started going for like a pure strength build, which has been a lot of
okay.
fun because you get some really big weapons that are just so much fun to swing around. Right now, I have this just a massive stone hammer called the Giant Crusher, which is very slow, but it's so much fun just pancaking enemies with it. Um,
That's
I
cool.
want to say I've probably put like 60-ish hours, maybe more, into it.
Okay. All right. That's not as high as I thought it might be. But then again, like you've had a lot of big life stuff going on,
Yeah, and I
so
have also been I've been
probably would.
sharing it on the one computer that we have to play it with two other people.
Ah, okay.
So
Gotcha.
I don't all I don't have the luxury of being able to play it all day.
Right.
But when I do get to play, it's been
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's not a Switch version, right?
no.
that was that would look so bad. Oh my
I
gosh!
keep thinking about it, and like honestly, if it did come out on the Switch, I probably would get it, but
Really?
probably. But I mean, I already have a copy in my Steam library. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the Steam Deck.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
once that comes around,
And I was gonna ask, so are you familiar with like the FSR stuff
uh,
that they announced for it?
I'm not. It sounds familiar, but I can't remember what that is.
I was just curious because like I didn't know if that would influence your decision on hacking it or not hacking it. I guess just like running Windows on it. Um, just because like so they announced that the Steam Deck. I guess I should rewind to FSR. If you're not familiar, that's like it's kind of AMD's take on NVIDIA's DLSS. I'm sure you're more familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't think it's AI based. I'm pretty sure it's algorithm based, and I'm not even sure how that works. But it's a similar thing where you can set your games to run at a lower resolution, and then it runs an algorithm that like upscales it so that it looks basically as good as it would be at a higher resolution, but you get the added performance boost of running it at a lower. And there's not a lot of games right now that use FSR. I think it's like 30 games or something. It's not like it hasn't really become as industry standard as DLSS yet. But apparently the Steam Deck is running FSR at all times, like in the operating system as well. So games will just automatically be utilizing
Hmm.
FSR to give you a performance
Interesting.
boost, as long as you're using their like what is it like Linux based
Yeah.
operating system,
Steam OS.
right?
Interesting. So it probably won't even matter that I'm probably gonna like I'm gonna hook it up to a display hub and just have the resolution at like 720.
Yeah. And again, I don't know exactly if it's like always working or if it's like something that you can like downscale the
Hmm.
settings. But
Well,
yeah, I just thought that was a cool
yeah.
feature.
Whenever I do get my hands on it, I will be sure to let you know. I will answer your burning questions.
Okay.
I am just as eager as anybody to get my hands on it.
So you haven't gotten an email yet, I'm
No,
guessing.
it still says it still says Q2 for me. So
Okay.
thankfully I haven't been bumped to Q3 yet. Um,
So Q2 is when they send the email then? I thought that was like when you're like when you'd actually get
I think
one.
so because like I have it reserved.
Right.
And I think they're working on sending out order emails. I haven't gotten one yet, and I have been checking
Okay.
regularly. Sometimes more than
I
once a
would
day.
imagine. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting piece of tech.
yeah. I'm just like bringing up the 3DS again. It kind of has that vibe to it, especially the
Yeah.
fact that you can just like activate desktop mode, and you've got a whole Linux desktop, which means that I'm definitely going to be able to do the thing that I said I wanted to do and hook up my drawing tablet to it.
Oh, that's really cool.
So I'm very excited about that, and I will probably be talking about that experience when ever I get to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just neat to see Valve doing anything, I guess, hardware or software.
Yeah, it's just
They seem very
yeah.
inconsistent.
I was thinking about this the other day. Just like it feels like they were really quiet for like a long bit there, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, we're doing a console." What?
Yeah. Well, and like they came out of nowhere with like the Valve Index
Mm-hmm.
first. And then like they made a Half-Life game randomly, a VR Half-Life
Yeah.
game. And now this. It's like it's interesting to see them kind of getting back into the I mean, like they never left the industry obviously, but like they were just silent from like 2011
Mm-hmm.
onward.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means we'll ever get a Half-Life 3 or Portal 3 or any 3 that people have been wanting, but
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Um, that's another thing I was thinking about because like I think you've heard about how like they have a rolling desk policy where like they or like, no it's something like that is I I'm not sure if that like it's an actual policy or if it's like the thing that people say about Valve that like their desks are on wheels, um, meaning that like
mm,
if any of the people are more interested in like what someone else is working on, they could basically just roll their desk over there and start like working on it along with them.
oh
Um,
wow.
which a
So it's
lot of
the anti Ubisoft.
I guess. Um, but the idea being that like they have the freedom to like work on whatever it is that they are interested in working on, but a lot of people are upset about that because it means like, oh well, they're not focusing on any one thing, which I feel is unfair because on the one hand, like I understand wanting your favorite developers to focus on one thing, but at the same time, these are people who are passionate about the things that they are creating. Let them follow that passion,
Right.
and I feel like that probably makes for a much better work environment. I have no I have
I'm sure,
no
yeah.
I don't work at Valve. I can't say for certain that it's not that it is or isn't bad. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that it is not great, given how many uh, companies are just the worst. Um, but
Yeah.
I like to think that lends itself to a more positive work environment.
Well, at least they're not giving their employees NFTs as holiday
Ugh,
bonuses.
who
So
did that?
Ubisoft.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
sad that they
It's
have Rayman.
yeah. And Mario plus Rabbids. Like
I'm gonna have to give them money for Stars of Hope.
I was gonna say, like I can't not play that. I mean,
Yeah.
And to be fair, like it's really not the employees thing. Like I don't like I'm not going to get into the whole like boycott versus not thing, but neither side is correct fully. I would say like there's not neither side is like the right one, I
Mm.
guess. So
Yeah, I mean it all kind of ends up eventually boiling down to the like there's no ethical consumption under capitalism and all that. You know, you just gotta do the best that you can and just try to be nice.
yeah, but at least there's like passionate people working on Mario plus Rabbids. So
Yeah,
I do like that development team, and that was like the most creative game that has come out of uh, Ubisoft in I don't even know since Rayman Legends, I guess.
yeah. It is so wild that like rabbits came out of like it feels like rabbits came out of nowhere and basically just sort of like swept Rayman completely like out of the picture. Like
Yeah,
Rabbids is Rayman now. That's the series. Like I know it's its own thing technically, but
right.
it's just like such a weird phenomenon. Like when are we going to get a new like 3D platformer Rayman game? I have no idea like
Uh,
what that even would look like.
not under current management, I would imagine. I don't know how Mario plus Rabbids happened, other than Nintendo supplying some money
Hmm.
or something. Because I mean, honestly, if it's not like open world or filled with microtransactions, I don't know if Ubisoft's leadership has much use for
Yeah.
it. And to be fair, like they do make some fun open world games, but or maybe just fun open world game.
Yeah. I've been thinking
But
a lot about Rayman 3 recently because I went looking for the soundtrack to it because I remember really liking it.
I've
You've
never
never
played
played
it.
3?
No, I
It
own it.
is it's very interesting. You know how like two was it's Rayman, it's silly, but it was like a lot
Yeah,
darker than the first game.
right.
3 is like dark comedy.
Huh.
It's really
Huh.
like it is bright, it is colorful, but it is also like kind of grim, but it is so goofy.
Huh.
It's like a really really like wacky cartoon that you would watch late at night.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean it's been in my backlog forever,
I think it's
so
definitely worth
I'll
worth
probably have.
checking out. There's some issues like I think audio mixing in a few places is kind of rough. Like it's hard to hear some characters or some things are like just way too loud. But like
You gotta
the
love that.
environments are gorgeous. I love the art style. The music is funky and weird, and it complements like this like fantasy setting that is just full of really bizarre creatures, really really
Huh.
really well. And the it has like the best like platformer combat that I think I've ever experienced.
Well, I'm now excited to play this game. I might have to push that one a little closer to the top in my
Yeah,
backlog.
put it on the wheel.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I have a copy
Fun to do.
on GOG that I've been after listening to the soundtrack again. I've been itching to download and play again. I also have it on GameCube, so maybe
Okay.
I'll play that instead.
I have the Xbox 360 HD
Mm.
version, which hey, it runs on Series X,
Ooh,
so
got
that's
that
cool.
upscaling.
So, which is your favorite Rayman game?
Um, hmm, that's a good question. Um, I want to say two, just because like it just has such a wonderful vibe to it. Um,
Yeah,
I almost feel like I'd have to replay. I'd have to replay all of them. I really like.
they're worth
Yeah,
replaying.
they're all really good. Um,
I think Legends would have to be my favorite. I just don't think like I think that one is just so good and it's so polished.
Mm-hmm.
And it has just so many like of those crazy weird Rayman
Yeah.
elements. It's basically Origins, but like 5 times better.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of like Tropical Freeze, what Tropical Freeze was to Returns,
I
where it's like they're both absolutely worth playing, but
Yeah, I really, really liked Origins, but I've never gotten around to
mhm.
actually getting a copy of Legends. Um,
Sophia, what is wrong with you?
it's
It's like $10 on
is it
Switch.
still on sale right now?
I think it is. I will give you $10 to go buy Rayman Legends. I this whole time I had no idea you hadn't
No,
played
I've
that
never
game.
played it. It's been in
Oh
my
my gosh,
wish
it's
list for
so
so long,
good.
and I keep seeing it go on its head. I'm like, eh, nah, not right now.
Oh my word. Did not realize that.
Yeah, I've wanted to play it. I've listened to the soundtrack.
It's
It's so
fantastic.
good. It's so
The
good.
the remixes too, just like
Hmm.
the and the music levels. Oh my
Yeah,
word.
one of my parts in Origins was the tricky treasure stages, which
Yeah.
makes sense because I also love the stages in Donkey Kong Country with in Country Returns with the rocket barrel,
Hmm.
and
Right,
it
right.
had like that same like frantic, frenetic feel of like trying to perfect a run. Um,
Right. Which is what the music levels are, just better because they're music levels. Because like all of the enemies you hit are to the beat. Um, all of the collectibles that you get are like tied to the music.
mm,
And when you like perfect a stage, it is just addictive. Like I would play an entire rhythm game of Rayman jumping through weird levels to music. Like I'd pay $60 for that.
wow. Yeah, I can definitely sympathize with that. Um, I guess I got to play Legends then.
Yeah, yeah. That's a priority. Because like two would probably be my second favorite,
Hmm.
and obviously I haven't played three.
Yeah,
So
one is kind of like it's really just its own thing.
yeah, it
Like three
is.
three at least makes sense as a sequel to two, but like one is so different from anything else. Like it's
Right.
still Rayman, it's still weird, but like two basically takes place in a whole different world, and three kind of takes place
Hmm.
in that same world. And I
Right.
don't know what's up with Origins and Legends. They also do their own thing. They kind of
Yeah.
Origins kind of like did a soft reboot, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and Legends also has some of the levels from
Oh wow.
Origins as just a side mode. Like you can just replay like the best levels from Origins in
Okay.
Legends, just as like a bonus option. So it's just like the best Rayman game.
Okay.
And that's like I don't say that lightly because obviously like not I mean I love 2D platformers, of course, but like the fact that they made a 2D Rayman game that's like that I enjoy much more than Rayman 2 is pretty impressive. A 3D
Yeah.
platformer. So,
Gosh, I'm gotta find it. I'm looking.
are you on your Switch
No,
right
I'm not.
now?
I'm not on the Switch, but I'm.
Oh,
I'm.
okay.
I'm. I'm looking. I'm looking for Rayman right now. This is happening live. Because if it's on sale, I'll do it. I'll do it right now. I could
Yeah,
get
is it
Uno
on this?
Rayman.
I was checking to see if it was on. I was checking to see if you could see prices through.
It is $10 on the
Uh,
Switch.
yes, it is. That is a steal.
I've got. Just kidding.
How many points do you have?
I have like 256, I think. So I could get it
Okay.
for like $6.
Oh, also, random thing while we're talking about my Nintendo reward points. Have you messed around with the new avatar system?
No, I haven't. Um, yes, do use points. How? What's up with that?
So now you can, not only are there like missions that you can complete in the Switch itself, it's stuff like playing a game that utilizes Nintendo Switch Online once a week, or like playing Super Mario Brothers in the NSO app for some reason, or like backing up cloud saves or something. So like there's now missions on the Switch for my Nintendo, and you can use those points to buy avatars for your like icon, like your Switch icons, and they just kind of replace them. Like it's not part of the icon system built into the
Oh,
Switch. It's its
so
own
it would be
thing.
like uploading it from like the website, probably.
No, it's from the Switch itself, but you have to go into the NSO app on the
Oh,
Switch.
that's okay. That's weird.
Yeah, and then like so you can buy frames, backgrounds, and then characters, and then you can like layer those to make your own icons.
Hmm. I'll have.
So if you've seen, my icon is now a tiny Goomba, just because I was like, why? That's like the dumbest thing, but I loved it that you can just have a tiny Goomba from Mario Odyssey as your icon.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds.
I mean, it's
It's
something to spend
something,
your
but
platinum points
it's
on.
is something better than nothing?
uh
This is a serious question that you have to ask yourself when you're discussing Nintendo.
we might even get to that if we discuss the Mario Kart DLC.
Yeah. Do we want to talk
Um,
about that?
but we can. I was just going to finish up on the My Nintendo
Hmm.
thing. Um, I was honestly curious if you think there's been some speculation now since this happened. If Nintendo might try to implement an achievement system using My
Hmm.
Nintendo. Is that something you would be interested in at
Totally.
all?
Absolutely. I love getting achievements. I think that's a ton of fun. It's I love it when a game has achievements built in. I don't always try to go for every single one of them because a lot of the times, like to get 100%, you have to do really hard stuff. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It feels cool when you get a little pop up that's like the game recognizes, like, hey, you did a cool thing. I don't know. I like that.
yeah, yeah. I used to be into the trophy system on PlayStation, but I don't know. It's one of those things. Like if Nintendo did it right, I think that could be more interesting to have. Uh, to have achievements actually give you
Hmm.
something. Whereas like trophies on PlayStation give you nothing. They're just like bragging
Yeah.
rights. And you like level up an arbitrary level that means nothing. So like that doesn't really interest me. And I realized the only reason I was doing it was because I was competitive and I had a friend that I was like neck and neck with. So
What?
like as soon as he started to pull ahead because he was playing more games on PlayStation, I just kind of like lost
Mm.
interest. And at this point, I just kind of collect. Like I see the pop ups come up, and I'm just like, okay, I got an achievement, I guess.
So here's an idea. Like, what if they doubled down on the stuff like the profile pictures, and they just kept adding like different things. Like they gave you different like maybe user interface themes that you could purchase
That would
with
be
points. Make it so that you can actually customize your home screen.
that would be so cool.
Um, Maybe you could get like if you saved up enough of them, you could get like a discount on something, and it probably wouldn't be great, but like you could do it. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe if they brought something like Swap Doodle over to was it Swap Doodle or Swap Notes? I can't remember.
Swap note.
If they brought Swap Notes over, which I don't think they would, but I'm just spitballing. They could do kind of what they did on the 3DS, where you could buy different brushes and stickers and like stationery.
Yeah, Could you buy no, I guess that wouldn't be something. Well, maybe Nintendo would do it now. I was going to say, can you were you able to buy the like stars and stuff that you could give people? I was super into to well, I guess I was thinking Flipnote.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it did get renamed as Swapdoodle, didn't it? Wasn't there? Were there like two apps? I don't know. It's been a
Well, they shut
while.
it down. They shut it down first because
Yeah, yeah.
people got upset that
Sending
kids could
inappropriate.
see an inappropriate message, which is like
Yeah,
that's messaging on the internet.
yeah. Trust me, they're seeing a lot worse outside of your
Yeah,
platform.
yeah. Um, and then they re-released it, but they made it so that like you could only do it if like it was like really really weirdly not as good. It was like really conditional. Like you had to
Yeah,
both be online and both be friends, and or it was
sign a
maybe it was like
consent
Street
waiver,
Pass or
and
something. I can't remember exactly how it worked, but
that's
it
so
was
weird.
they really just kind of like shot it in the foot.
It's so bizarre to me how Nintendo went from the 3DS Wii U era, where everything was like so protected. Like they had people scouring, you know, Miiverse, like their own employees scouring Miiverse to look for inappropriate stuff on top of their
Ugh.
algorithm. And it's like they went from that to like I still remember Mitomo allowed you to use any words you wanted, and like your Mii's would just kind of read them off, and I was like, oh, okay, like what happened here? I don't know. It was the weirdest thing to go from that, and like now with the Switch, they just don't care. There's like they don't care what games come to their platform either.
Shoot, bring back. Okay, so here's what they do. It's part of the UI. It takes like no time to load, but you have like a little box with your me in it, and you could decorate this box with furniture and like paint the room and like give them different outfits, and that's what you spend your achievement points on.
Oh, that'd be interesting. It would be cool if they added more like me or slash Metopia or sorry Mitomo like social
Yeah.
elements to the like operating system. I doubt they'll do that with the Switch. I my best hope is that that would happen with its successor.
What if
Um,
Nintendo made a phone? What if the next 3DS was actually a phone? I'm only
huh.
half joking.
I think I first honestly I think a lot of people would hate that. Like really hate that.
I would probably buy it.
I think the diehard Nintendo fans for sure would, but I think there'd be like mass complaining that it's like I don't know, like mobile gaming has such a bad rep.
Yeah.
I mean, for good reason for a lot of it. To be fair, it's not like it has earned a lot of that. It was such an exciting thing when like the iPhone first came out and like smartphones were
Hmm.
new, like the iPad and tablets and then it was just like the mobile game like rip off bootleg garbage just started piling onto the platform. So like there were like real games that were coming out on mobile back when it first started, but now everything's like free to play and uh,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just it, once again bringing up the 3DS. I just I yearn for that sort of device. That clamshell
yeah,
device that is like can hold all of my games, but also is like I can talk to my friends on it.
right.
Um, it's
The
something
Wii U
about
had
it
that.
just really feels very magical.
Yeah, the Wii U had that like uh, FaceTime app thing.
For like 2 minutes.
Do you remember seeing that?
Only had
Was it timed? I never used it. I didn't have enough friends that
I no, I
that
just
owned
mean
Wii
that
U
like
to.
for the 2 minutes that the Wii U was relevant.
Oh yeah, Yeah. The Wii U is such an interesting
Yeah,
console. So many interesting ideas that just they dropped the ball on. It's still like with the games that do use the gamepad well, it's still like one of the most unique and enjoyable experiences in
yeah.
gaming. Like Nintendo Land, for example, is one of the best multiplayer games ever created, and nothing will change my mind on that.
Still waiting for them to bring that over to the Switch.
I mean, they couldn't. Not
I guess
really.
not.
It wouldn't be the same game. Like you needed that gamepad for those modes.
That's true.
I think like the only one they could really get away with is like the Donkey Kong tilting one.
Hmm.
But I guess like even that one had like microphone use and stuff. So did you buy Rayman Legends by the way?
Yes, I did.
Is it downloading now?
It should be.
Okay.
I just did it from my phone, so it should automatically be doing it.
Yeah, okay.
I figured, you know what, it's on.
That's cool. I didn't know if Nintendo did that or
Yeah, I've
not.
done it a couple of times. It's really nice.
I know the Xbox app allows you to do that. Like you can just go into your library on the app and then just like download this game when you're at work and then it'll just be ready.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm eating.
That's fine. That's fine. Uh, yeah, I guess we can jump into Mario Kart. We've been like rambling the whole episode, and I didn't know where we were or where to go. Do you want to talk about Mario
Yeah,
Kart since we both played it
yeah,
now?
definitely.
I mean, I know we talked about it a lot yesterday, but so Sophia and I played the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave One yesterday.
Yep.
It was it was quite the experience.
You can
Um,
tell how it moved me.
I mean, we talked about this on the last episode where we talked about the direct. These are the courses from Mario Kart Tour that are being ported over, and then obviously like the lighting engine, some of the textures they brought in, they kept in engine with the Mario Kart 8 engine, um, but the actual most of the core textures and obviously like the polygon counts are still kind of like strangely low because it's like it has to be able to run on like any phone. Um, so like art style wise, it still it just like the whole thing just feels weird.
Hmm.
Like it's kind of fun to have more stuff to do, and I was actually playing it quite a bit today. Like just getting all of the um, like beating all the Grand Prix and cups and getting back into like the time trial aspects, but it feels like back alley content. Like the way you access it is like it's nowhere like in the direct menus. Like you have to go to the courses and then like go to this other side area, and like the screen changes to a different color, and all the tracks look super different, and it feels like kind of bootleggy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like part of Mario Kart 8. Like it just doesn't feel implemented at all into that like core experience. It's like, going into a back alley like, "Hey, you want to play these Mario Kart tracks?" It's like, okay. Like it doesn't feel like part of the game. It reminds me a lot of like an obviously more polished version of the custom tracks that people have been making in Mario Kart Wii.
Yeah.
Like I have a hacked Wii, so I played a lot of those. Most of them are
Hmm.
terrible. Um, but it has that same feel where you're like there's like the 8 main cups, and then you start moving into these like weird bootleg cups. And like you don't know what to expect, and they're not quite polished,
Yeah.
and they don't fit the art style of the game.
It definitely
Except it's Nintendo
it
doing
definitely feels like they just sort of like taped these onto the game.
it. Yeah. Yeah, it does.
They're
Um,
not they're not all bad.
No, they're not.
I wouldn't
They're
say
they all feel
I wouldn't
short.
say that any of them other than Choco Mountain are really bad. And Choco Mountain's not really
Yeah, what did you
bad.
call it? Low fat Choco Mountain.
Oh gosh, what did I call it? Low fat
You
chocolate
had a pretty
mound or
great name for
something.
it.
Um, but
Yeah, they. Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Continue.
it's just like they back alley is just like a really good way of describing it. It just feels like very. It doesn't feel like Nintendo worked on these, or at least it doesn't feel like the
No,
same team that did Mario Kart 8 worked on these tracks. Which makes sense because I
right.
think it's probably a different team entirely that did Mario Kart Tour. Although I have no evidence.
It was yeah, it was what's the team that they partnered with? Like way back in the Mitomo days. This is this is not great that I'm like having to search it while being live. I'm trying to find. Come on, don't let me
Use this
down.
opportunity to slam more
No,
food.
did Mitomo was a different team? Hold on. Surely they did Super Mario Run, right? Uh, Gosh, okay. I can't think of the name, but there was a mobile team that Nintendo partnered with that did like I can't find it here. They're not credited as doing Super Mario Run or Mitomo, but I know they did Fire Emblem Heroes and Animal Crossing and Dr. Mario World and like all the other games they've done since then. Um, so it was done by that same development team, but it was still overseen by what is it? Nintendo EPD 9, I think, is the Mario Kart
Mm.
team. So they still like had some hand in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like overseeing.
Mm-hmm. So,
So yeah, it's not like it wasn't like really the same team that did it originally, and I would be surprised if it was the same DNA. That's it.
mm. I wanted to say DNA, but I wasn't sure if that was the name of the team or if that was like the because that was brought up a lot when the Switch was like first announced, like before it was announced that like Nintendo was partnered with this team called DNA that handled
Yeah,
like mobile stuff. But I think that's like when everybody was like, "Is Nintendo making a phone or something?" Like nobody like it was just
yeah,
the NX. The Switch
right.
had the Switch like as we know it. Nobody knew what that was yet.
Yeah,
Which also that's a whole different thing to think about. Just out of nowhere, think about a time before the Switch. Do you remember
yeah. I
that
still
Arlo
remember.
video?
Oh, the calm before the
Yeah,
storm, before the Nintendo Switch storm. Yeah,
I still think
yeah.
about
That
that
was.
sometimes.
I still remember like leading up to it, like you'd send me like articles and stuff like of rumors or like the latest piece of
Hmm.
information of like they said this about NX, and it was like I don't know, it was so funny. Like that's my memory of it is like not patiently waiting for the NX reveal, um, and then like you sending me every little detail about it. Yeah, and that Arlo video. But yeah, it is weird to think about. Like the Switch is now over 5 years old, which makes me feel old.
Yeah,
But
I remember
anyways,
saving my
back to
pennies
Mario
up to
Kart.
get it, but yeah, I kind of derailed it
Yeah,
there. Sorry.
no, that's fine. That's fine. Back to Mario Kart. So we are talking about Mario Kart Tour tracks being brought in. Yeah, they definitely like they feel mobile. There's you had mentioned it before, and it's a really good way of describing it. Like it feels very empty, right?
Hmm.
Like a lot of the tracks just feel like the stuff that's going on like the sidelines is just kind of like decor.
Yeah,
There's just not a lot happening on the tracks. A lot of them are very flat. They're very short. There's not even like a lot of stuff to avoid on the track, which I feel like is like a normal thing for Mario Kart. Like there's no like Goombas walking across the road
yeah.
or
And even like
There's not a lot of like
even in like the
hazards.
classic tracks like Coconut Mall, that part with like the cars going back and forth, the cars are there,
Yeah,
but they're not moving anywhere. It
they're
feels
all in park.
it just feels like, and it's like it's contrasted so weirdly in that same stage because like aesthetically, this is the best that Coconut Mall has ever looked.
Right.
I guess Coconut Mall has only ever been in Double Dash,
Was it?
or was it was in
No, it was
Wii?
Wii. Yeah. It hasn't been brought back,
I
right?
don't
Since
think
then?
so.
I'm trying to remember now. Was it in? It wasn't in 7,
I
was it?
don't think so. Because I was surprised by how good it looks.
No, it was in
It
7
was,
apparently.
huh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it looks about the same because I mean, the 3DS was basically like a Wii on the go. So,
Yeah.
wow, I put so many hours into that game and I can't believe I forgot that. But they backed up in that one too, to be fair.
Yeah.
The
But
drivers.
like, it looks really, really good. But then there are like
Yeah.
those mechanical aspects, like the car's not moving. It's like what?
Or like the escalators that have the giant like red and green arrows showing you which one is going the right
Mm-hmm.
way. I understand why it's like that because if you're playing on a mobile game, you know you have the vertical screen. I don't know why Nintendo doesn't like landscape, but you play the game in like kind of the portrait uh, view, and like also your fat thumbs over part of the
Yeah.
screen, and it's a tiny screen, and like it makes sense to have that labeled, but like you don't need that when you're playing on a big TV or even on the Switch
You
in
could
handheld
you
mode.
could be a chump and play with tilt controls.
Actually, I remember the tilt controls being better in Mario Kart Tour than the touch controls. It was that
Wow.
bad
Yeah.
because I don't like.
I barely played it, so I tried it and I was just like, this ain't it, Chief.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. Like the touch controls were so bad that the motion controls, which weren't good, were still better. But yeah, I think I'd mentioned yesterday, like the video game like preservationist in me is very happy that these tracks that were tied to a live service game that will one day be offline and no longer playable, like are at least preserved in some fashion somewhere
Mm-hmm.
in an offline playable state. Uh, but I'm also like, it's preserving a mobile game basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have the least hard time with like mobile games, disappearing forever. Like Mitomo's offline, there's no way to play it anymore. But it's like, oh, okay. Like I'd rather it still be like, I'm not even sure how it would be playable, but like I don't like the idea of games being, disappearing forever in general, but
Yeah.
like also it's a mobile game.
Yeah. I I don't know. It and it's also just like really weird. Like why do this at all? Like
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8
I,
it's like what? It's an 8-year-old game now.
right, right. The Switch version is almost 5. Next month it'll be 5. Yeah, it's
I don't understand, why do this? It's such an old game. Why are you just now releasing content for it?
yeah, like on the one hand, my theory is that at this point the Mario Kart team is kind of sitting on or like polishing up Mario Kart 9, but that's going to be a launch game or launch window game for the next system. Because that's kind of what they did with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? That came out like a month or month and a half after the
Hmm.
launch, and it's like the best selling Switch game of all time. Like having that there gave the Switch so much momentum at launch that like I could definitely see them wanting to have that happen again. And it kind of wouldn't make sense, like from a business standpoint, to launch Mario Kart 9 on Switch now. You know what I mean? they'd kind of be in a similar situation where they just like have to do like a deluxe version or something at the launch of the next system.
Yeah.
And my guess has been for a while that the next, assuming we don't know where the world will be in 2 years, but that my my original guess was that the Switch successor would be releasing either holiday 2023 or like spring 2024. And the fact that this DLC ends by the end of 2023, I think, kind of fits into that. It's still weird. It's so weird that they would wait this long, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's always whack a mole with Nintendo, trying to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah. Also, like there's some issues with these tracks that we kind of noticed yesterday, and I noticed even more today.
Hmm.
Um, for one, like the graphical glitch of the fog, you had that happen several times,
Yeah,
right?
in a couple of tracks.
Where like you'd like drive underneath like the fog box, like the fog effect
Hmm.
itself, and so then like the entire screen would then be the underside of that fog effect, and you could barely see anything, and then like you drive right back through into it, and it'd look normal again. And I had that happen once on Chaco Mountain, but you had it happen several times. Like that's such a non Nintendo thing. They don't make mistakes like that.
Yeah,
Or like that one wall, or I guess three walls in Coconut Mall that like have the ramp that goes up, and then it's just an invisible wall. So like you start to go up on the wall, and if this were a normal game, like you'd either have the anti grav sections, or at the very least like the kind of Mario Kart Wii vertical ramps where you could kind of like spin off the top and come back down. But you just kind of hit a wall and lose all momentum. It's the weirdest thing. Um, Collision just feels kind of weird overall. I mentioned like it happened to me again. I was playing 200cc Cloud Kingdom or whatever that one's
hmm,
called, and like there's that one jump that no matter what cart or character I'm using, like I go over the jump and I hit the stupid lip of the next like part of the track. Like there's like a ramp and then a mushroom and then like the track continues, like picks back up on the other side. And like every time, if you get a boost off of that first ramp, you will every single time hit that lip and go flying into the grass. It's like, how did they miss that? That just doesn't feel like something that Nintendo would have done. But
yeah. And then like in Choco Mountain, where it just like slams you back down.
yeah, every jump does that. The ones in Coconut Mall, it's so weird. So, that like kind of pavilion area where you have like that, like those two plants and that like the two trees that you can get jumps off of, and then the
Yeah,
fountain. In 200cc, I like no matter how fast you're going, when you go over that jump, it just kind of it feels like a hand is coming and like setting you back down gently.
yeah,
Like you will land in the same spot no matter if you're playing like 50cc or 100cc, or 200cc, I should say. And it's just weird. Like I don't remember that being a thing in Mario Kart 8.
yeah. It just feels like weirdly restrictive. And
Yeah,
it just serves to make these stages feel like even more out of place than they already
right.
do.
Yeah, so I'd mentioned yesterday, like there's a lot of people like excitedly guessing, like, oh, which retro tracks will make a comeback, and I'm like, I want to be there. Like, I would love to be excited about like and speculate on which tracks they'll bring back. Like personally, I'm really hoping for Mario Kart 7 Rainbow Road because that was like the best one.
Yeah,
And it had the best music. Oh my gosh. And
yeah.
like you'd land on the moon and it would change to that kind of floatier, softer version of the
Mm-hmm.
theme.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like a remix of like it was its own theme, but then it like went into that Mario Kart 64 / Double Dash Rainbow Road
Yeah.
music. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So I'm hoping for that, but like at the same time, is it going to be that same like magical feeling of playing it in like mobile flat texture world? Because that was like a really shiny track. Like there were all kinds of cool like effects on the road and in space, and
Are there enough?
I don't know. I'm
Are
just
there enough
concerned.
spaces for like every single track to make a return in some way?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
because I don't know how many tracks are like throughout the series, not including like remakes.
Yeah, I don't know, but no, there's definitely going to be a lot that don't make it in.
I've got a theory. So you know how like the last four cups are usually like the retro, like the retro
Yeah.
retro. Um,
Hmm.
those are probably just going to be like classic, like not updated graphically, but it's going to be like the classic layout with like all the low poly cow or whatever.
Oh
That's
wow,
what I'm expecting.
that'd be interesting. That would be. I would almost prefer that than the like weirdly smooth style that it is
Yeah.
now. Um, but yeah, it'd be interesting. I do know that like somebody already data mined it, the game, and they found an image, like a new, that banner image of like the Mario characters in anti grav mode, even though it's not featured in the game, like driving on that road made of screenshots of the different
Hmm.
tracks. So there's an updated version of that that like shows like I think it's Koopa Cape is coming back, which is kind of cool. I'd like to be excited for that. I liked that
It was
track.
a DS.
Not sure if
It
I'll
was a
like it
DS
here.
track, right?
No, that was a Wii
Oh,
track,
okay.
and they brought that back in seven. I'm almost positive. Um, and like one of the Mario circuits from Super Mario Kart,
Ah, yes, because
and
we
then
do
like
need another circuit.
yes, that's. I guess that's a good segue into the kinds of tracks that are in this wave. They're like almost all circuits, or at least like road courses, and so they all just have like the same vibe.
Yeah.
Of like here I am on the road again. Like Choco Mountain is one of the few. Um, like Choco Mountain, and even though it's kind of generic, like Cloud Top. It's not Cloud Top Cruise. That's the Mario Kart 8 one, right? Cloud Kingdom
Sky
is that
Cloud.
Sky Sky something? I don't know. I haven't played Super Circuit in a long time, but that one, like, even though that one's like really kind of basic, it's like such a visual breath of fresh air, as is Choco Mountain, just to be like, oh yeah, there's something other than road course or circuit.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean,
like even Coconut Mall, still like part of that is still like on like traditional pavement.
yeah. I don't know. So a lot of these feel like the theme park ride that you're too old to be on. They're
That's,
very short and they're not particularly exciting.
no, that's perfect. That's a perfect way of describing them. Yeah,
Like Choco,
yeah. It's
like
like
not to like keep heaping the hate on Choco Mountain, but like that one especially, feels like, oh, now we're gonna go through
yeah.
the Crystal Tunnel, and then we're gonna go through the Boulder Ridge, and
So I've been like obsessively completing all the cups on all of the CCs just because like I do love Mario Kart, and this at the very least has gotten me to get back
Mhm.
into it to some degree. So I played these tracks quite a few times now. I got hit by the boulder one time, and it was because I was like, I think I can still make it. Like they're the easiest boulders to avoid, and I remember them being like a legitimate threat in
Yeah.
64.
I also thought there were more of them.
So there were. That was a much bigger. It was like a whole lake that you were driving around. This is like a puddle.
It just
Like it's over so quickly, and there's like two boulders. They're really easy to dodge. I don't know.
it just feels like
Yeah,
so weirdly like shortened. Like they shrank it like by like a percentage, and so
yeah,
you can't tell looking at it, but like it just feels smaller.
yeah. That's such a great way of putting it. The amusement park rides you're too old to be riding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about
Yeah.
them. They're
I guess.
they
Yeah.
exist. It's something. I as I said with the when we talked about them in the direct, like it's significantly better than nothing. If they weren't going to put a new Mario Kart game out for another 2 years, then I'm glad this exists. That said, the amount of effort that's gone into this is like strangely low.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I am excited to see like what else they'll bring, but also the bar is pretty low.
Yeah, I feel like I'm hoping at this point it'll be pretty easy to do something better than what they've already done. Just because like they've chosen some of the worst tracks, or they've chosen tracks that are really good, and then made them worse. I think Coconut Mall and what's the Ninja
Yeah,
Hideaway are like weirdly better than all of the other ones, like combined.
the Ninja was the best of the bunch. The Ninja
It
Hideaway.
was.
It
I can't imagine playing that on mobile. Like it's so weird that that's one of the original tour
yeah,
tracks.
it's insane. Like it has like three different like levels, like throughout the whole thing. It feels like an adventure.
And I didn't realize, like, do you remember those like steps in that first corner? Like you go into the Ninja
Yeah.
Hideaway and there's like those steps leading up. You can drive up
Yeah,
that.
I did that at first, and I was like, "Whoa, this doesn't feel
Did
like I
you?
should be able to drive up it, but I am."
I mean, I saw that. I was like, oh, that's just like set dressing. But no, I saw like the CPU do it. I was like, wait a minute, what? How can you drive up
Yeah, you
steps?
just do. It's just a ramp, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like it's. I'm still bad at it, and that's like weirdly exciting to
Hmm.
me. Because I really get into like the competitive side of Mario Kart, like the time trials and everything, and trying to find like the fastest routes and trying to find the best, like how many like the best corners for drifting, to try and get like the purple boost and
Hmm.
all that. And I'm like really bad at this one. So like I've gotten like really good at like all of the base tracks. So and most of these are pretty easy to learn, but yeah, that one is like exciting that there's so many new routes.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the rest will be good. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. One can only
Yeah,
hope. And at least we do have a Coconut Mall, so there's
yeah,
that. Maybe they'll make it even better for Mario Kart 9. Maybe they won't.
yeah.
And
That's
maybe
I
they'll
mean
even call it something other than Mario Kart 9.
I kind of hope so. I was never a big fan of the number thing that they
Yeah.
did.
Oh, you got the 9 item. Now you have 9 items.
They kind of tried like in seven. They tried to make that like, well, that's why we named it this. Like, really? Like that wasn't a game changer.
Yeah.
And like, if you're any good at Mario Kart, you'll never see that. Like, you have to be in last or like close to it to
It's
even
the
get that
hardest
ability.
item to use
Yeah.
because you have so many things that you have to like try and figure out how to use, and they don't fire off how you expect them to.
No, like you have to have really good timing with it. And that's like that's always so weird. And every time that like someone gets it, they're just spamming the button and like throwing bananas and shells and inking people. I don't feel like that really helps somebody get out of like 10th place or
Yeah.
something. I mean, that's always been my complaint with the blue shell, especially now that it flies over people. It's like I hate the blue shell because I a lot of times I spend, especially against the CPU, I spend a lot of time in first. That sounded really braggerly, um, but like it's such an annoying item because it doesn't help the person who launched it.
Yeah. It's just like a big middle finger to
Yeah,
whoever's in first.
and I swear the CPU cheats. The number of times like I'll be down in like a lower spot, I'll work my way back up, and as soon as I pass, I'll see a blue shell. I'm like, oh my gosh! As soon as I retake the lead, it happens so frequently. I can't help but think like that's part of the AI
Yeah.
programming.
They got it right in Crash Team Racing with the equivalent to the blue shell is like this big like electric orb that races along
Mm.
the track and zaps everyone along the way.
Oh,
Like
that's
you can
nice.
avoid it, but it's got like such a wide radius that and you usually like it goes so fast that it's hard to avoid.
Well, that's what the blue shell kind of used to
Hmm.
do, right? Like it would go out of its way to hit people on its way to
Yeah,
first, but like now it just kind of like fly. It's like, oh, there it goes. The person in first is going to get screwed. I don't know. It's weird. It usually just changes like the person in first is now in second, and the person in second is now in first. Like that doesn't do anything if you're in ninth.
Yeah.
But that's a weird like topic to be
a
going off on. But
little bit of a rant.
yeah. So we didn't really like do much of our normal segments. I guess like have you been playing anything else or just Elden Ring?
I played the Kirby demo. Um,
Oh yeah, you weren't a big fan.
I was neither impressed nor unimpressed. I feel like it's maybe a little bit unimpressed, um,
Mm,
but it didn't set me ablaze. I'm not like crazy excited for this game, and I feel like the demo
okay.
was supposed to like get me there. I know a lot of people are really really excited and they enjoyed the demo, and it wasn't bad. It's just it feels very safe. I guess it feels very
Mm,
safe for Kirby's first 3D outing.
okay. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Like the demo for Star Allies wasn't great
Mm,
either. Um, and the game was better than that demo, but not by a lot.
yeah,
So hopefully it's like they were just showing like the really easy basic first areas,
yeah.
but
See, the problem is that they have already made the perfect Kirby game, and it's Kirby Robobot.
yeah. Yeah.
Like they're basically just like they're kidding themselves trying to make a new one. Just
Well, and
just
I
touch
would
up Robobot and port it over. Just do like that's all we need. That's all I need.
and I would love to see another game like go back to the Kirby 64
Hmm.
style of having like actual 3D worlds, like still being a side scroller, but giving you a sense of adventure that none of the other Kirby platformers have
Hmm.
done. Because again, it's a full 3D world. The camera was dynamic. Like you'd go into a castle and you'd walk up like the spiral staircase and you'd actually like see the enemies on the other side before you got there. Like it felt like a real world that you were exploring rather than just like going from the left side of the screen to the
Yeah,
right. And I think
2.5D.
Robobot did a yeah, like true 2.5D. Um, and I know like Robobot got closer to that than like any other game did,
Hmm.
but it's still like not quite the same
Yeah.
thing. So like bringing back the item combination, like actually doing it, not like what they said in Squeak Squad or Star Allies, like actually going full on, um, doing that, and then bringing back like the true 2.5D, and I would be happy. There's really never been like a true successor to 64.
They got it right with that one. And Robobot.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That final boss, oh my gosh.
So good. Ah.
Yeah, like even again, Star Allies had like a fantastic final boss as well.
Yeah, but I'm not about to drop $60 just to play the whole rest of the game to get to the good boss.
Yeah, yeah,
At least like Robobot
yeah,
is like fun the whole way through.
yeah. I don't know. Like I do want to see. Like I'm still excited for Forgotten Land. I still haven't played the demo yet. I did download it now, but I didn't have time to play
Mhm.
it. So I'll see. Next time we talk, I'll probably have an opinion on it. But then again, like it comes out this coming week, so
Yeah, you'll probably be
like
playing it.
part of me is like I just downloaded it, but like do I like I'm going to spend the $60 and just buy the
Yeah.
game. I already set that money aside in my monthly budget. Like I'm going to play it. It's Kirby. I paid $60 for Star Allies, and I knew going in that I wasn't going to be super impressed. I just like to be a part of that conversation. So,
That's valid. That's totally valid.
and like Kirby's like the first game series that I ever played. It's the one that got me into gaming. So like even when they're kind of lackluster, like I still put in like 50 hours into Star Allies. I'm like, how did I do that? I just like that gameplay. I like that world. I like the vibe, even when they're not like super impressive. So I'm hoping for more than Star Allies level of enjoyment, um, or Triple Deluxe for that
Yeah.
matter. That was another like fairly unimpressive paint by numbers Kirby. But I don't know. I guess I'll have opinions next time we
Yeah.
record on the full game.
Okay. Well, is there anything else, or should we wrap it up?
Um, I guess I could mention real quick. I have been playing Pokemon Legends
Oh yeah,
Arceus. I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
I
How is that?
talked about this. I'm like weirdly loving this game. I kind of can't believe I'm liking it as much as I
Yeah,
am.
I also can't believe it.
Um,
You're gonna have to explain yourself.
Actually, wait, hold on. You have to explain yourself first because I saw on your account, like like 3 weeks ago or something, you were playing both Pokemon Sword and Shield back to back. What was happening there?
So me and my girlfriend got into it more than me, but like I kind of started playing it again because she was playing it, and we thought it
Okay.
would be fun to like play together and trade Pokemon. And then I forget what happened. Elden Ring happened, and we just
Okay.
dropped it entirely.
Okay. I wondered because like I've heard your rants about this game, and I was like, why on earth is Sophia
Yeah,
playing?
and
Like, why is she
I'll
playing this
I'll
game
I'll
she
give an
hates?
updated review. I hate it even more now.
Wow.
Oh, it just. I'll keep it brief. It does not want to let go of your hand at all.
Yeah.
It does not trust you to do
It's
anything on your own.
it's the dream team of of Pokemon
Yeah.
games.
But tell me about Arceus.
Yeah, so like I wouldn't say this is like my dream Pokemon game. I have a dream Pokemon game. Um and this is not quite it, but it's still like it's a lot of them. Just having like a world with an open area with verticality that focuses more on like just allowing you to actually move through it, adding stealth mechanics, adding a dodge ability, having Pokemon like actually attack you. Like that just adds so much to like you feeling like you're in this world, even when the graphics aren't particularly great and the world design's just okay. But I don't know, like that alone has made me enjoy this game so much more, and it just has this gameplay loop where everything you do is working towards some bigger goal. So there's like tons of collectibles. There's tons of stuff to find in the world that you can use for a crafting system. And like catching Pokemon gives you money that you can use to buy more crafting recipes. Um, you have like checklists of things to do in the Pokedex for each Pokemon. So like catching certain amounts of them and like defeating certain amounts, catching them at night or during the day, or catching them without like them seeing you, or feeding the Pokemon. There's like all kinds of different challenges for the Pokemon, and doing enough of those ups your research level for that individual Pokemon. And then like once you get to 10, like level 10, it then you get like the full Pokedex entry, and you can keep catching them like beyond that, because there's like a bunch of different like tiers of those missions. So there's like feed the Pokemon one time, like feed it 2 times, and then 5 times, and then 10. So like anything you're doing, whether you're catching them, feeding them, battling them, it's always giving you progress, because when you turn in those missions at the end, like going back to the hub area, that all ups your total Pokemon like catching rank,
Mm-hmm.
and that allows you to use higher level Pokemon, similar to how the badges did. And it also gives you new Pokeball types that you can craft. So like just and that's the thing too. Like you can buy your equipment, but you can also just go out in the world and make it. So there's like a much bigger attachment to like the Pokeballs that you're using, um, and it's this weird balance of like it makes it feel more useful when you're using them, and like you feel like, oh, I don't want to waste these, but at the same time it doesn't feel as like, oh, I gotta like go all the way back to the next town to get more. I don't know if I described that well, but like
No, so
there's a more personal aspect of it, while also being more convenient than having to travel all the way back.
So, so Elden Ring also does that.
Oh,
You
okay.
can like craft, you can like buy a lot of stuff, but you're like finding like pages of this cooking book or this like recipe book, um, every time you find one, it gives you new recipes, and you can make stuff like arrows or darts. You could make the like the mat like fire stuff that you put on your weapon. Um,
Hmm.
you could just like make fire bombs.
That's
Um,
cool.
and you're constantly like gathering materials for the stuff. So like you usually like will have the materials you need to make stuff.
Right, right.
So like I totally get that like crafting aspect of it. Like
Yeah.
it really puts an emphasis on like now that you have the freedom to like make these items, um, you don't worry so much about saving them.
Right, right. And it also just like it feels better than just buying them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like it's a more personal thing. Like I made these Pokeballs,
Hmm.
so and a lot of the Pokeball recipes use like some of the same items. So there is like a certain level of like, okay, you either have to collect a bunch of that one thing, or you have to be like a little bit more strategic on which ones you're going to make. And of course, like there's a ton of different Pokeball types in the main series, but that never really matters outside of like, okay, this is like one that's better at catching, flying type Pokemon. But you don't actually see how that works. Like in this one, when you're using like those, I forget what they're called, the ones that like are better at catching winged
Hmm.
Pokemon. Like rather than throwing it at an arc, they shoot out like a bullet and then drop like way off in the distance. So you can still use them to like catch things from a much further
Hmm.
distance. And when you blend that with like items that can temporarily stun Pokemon, or like you can use a smoke bomb if you're trying to get away from a Pokemon. If you have a bunch of Pokemon who are aggroed, which happens frequently, you can like use a certain item to make them that like makes a loud bang that makes them run away. If you just don't want to have to deal
Hmm.
with it. There's alpha versions of Pokemon, which are like these enraged giant
Ooh.
versions, and they kind of act as like mini bosses. So they're really tough to catch if you're just throwing Pokeballs at them from like the sidelines. So most of them you do actually have to go in and battle them and get them down to a certain health, or start inflicting some status ailments on them so that you can
Hmm.
catch them. Because the game allows you to catch them in the traditional way of like going into a battle, going to the items, and then picking the Pokeball that you want. So it just gives you like that level of freedom. It's like it really is like half normal Pokemon game, half action game.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And anytime you die in the world, you drop a good portion of your stuff, and then other players that your satchel will essentially appear in other people's games, and then they can find those, and if they collect it, they can send it back to you, and they'll get there's like some kind of like social point thing, which then they can use to purchase new items
Hmm.
with. So like every time you go to an area, you'll find like all over the map there's like just always something to do because you can go find their satchels, you can get a bunch of points, and then you can spend those points on rare items. So it's not Breath of the Wild or anything, but it's super addictive. Like again, everything you do is like going toward some greater goal. There's like a bunch of collectibles like wisp parts to find, that'll eventually allow you to get like a really rare Pokemon if you find all of them. There's a bunch of like helper assistant Pokemon that you can ride, like Pokemon mounts. So there's like 5 distinct areas in the game, and each one has its own like transportation Pokemon that you can like befriend. And then once you do, you can then go back and explore new areas and past locations. So like you'll get one initially that just allows you to traverse the world faster and also jump. You'll get one that like allows you to sniff out items in the
Hmm.
ground. You'll get one that basically allows you to climb up any wall, Breath of the Wild style, even in rain.
Oh wow.
You'll get like one that allows you to traverse water, so you can go out and explore the islands that you've only been seeing up until this point. Um, there's like a bird one that you'll get eventually, so you can fly, and that basically almost feels like a cheat, but it is one that you get like toward the very end of the game. Um, so yeah, there's reason to go back to the other areas and re-explore. And even though there's like not a ton of stuff to do outside of like, catching, battling, and collecting items for crafting, like because the Pokemon are in the world and they're like in places that you might expect, and they change out like during the day and night, based on their patterns. Like it feels more like a living Pokemon world than ever before. They don't have like, they're not like going about their everyday lives. Like you won't see like a herd of them grazing or anything. Like that's part of my dream Pokemon game. Like I want to see them be more like animals. But this is like so much better than the wild area. And again, there's a lot of verticality which the wild area did not have.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just really fun. I've already put like over 40 hours into it, and I'm not done.
It does it does sound interesting, and there are actually, like, just from like the way you've been describing it, I can see like parallels to games like Breath of the Wild and Dark Souls, uh, and by
Mm-hmm.
extension, I guess Elden Ring. Um, just that aspect of like everything that you do, like, is serving your like overall like advancement.
Right, right.
Um, I still don't know if like I am more. I will say this: I am more interested in it than I was when it was first shown off.
Mm,
Um, but I don't. I still don't think that I'm like quite there. I don't think I'm quite ready to like you know slam money on the table and throw my life away to play this game.
right, right.
Um, it's probably gonna. I'll probably get like whatever they do next. Not. I don't know. I. We'll have to see with Scarlet and
I was just gonna ask, are you more interested in Scarlet and Violet?
yeah, I'll say yes for now, just because we don't know anything about it. And
Yeah,
I love that Weed Cat so much. I'm very excited to see what Weed Cat turns into.
yeah. I'm glad I like the grass starter. I always go with the grass starter, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So um, sometimes that means you get a Grookey who evolves into like the ugliest gorilla thing that I just hated so much. Um, but yeah, sometimes you get this really adorable cat. So
It's all come down to this.
I mean, I did get Rowlet before that, and that was like the best starter of those
Yeah.
three by
Yeah.
far. So I guess they had to do something. They had to give the fire and water type people give them a bone.
Yeah. Um.
But yeah, the only thing like about Scarlet and Violet that I'm like a little concerned about is the catching mechanic. Like I do love this action based catching. Like just the idea of like actually being the one to aim and throw the Pokeball at the Pokemon is just the greatest
Yeah.
thing. Even like when you send out to your Pokemon to a battle, like you're actually choosing that one. You're holding the Pokeball with that Pokemon in your hand, and you toss it, and wherever it lands, that's where it starts the battle. Like I know that's such a simple thing, but like I just hate bumping into something and then going into a separate battle screen, and then it's just like you watch your character just throw the Pokeball out. Like this, at the very least, makes you feel like you're an actual trainer. So they have confirmed that like that catching mechanic is not going to be there.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
it is going to be like the traditional, but it's also completely open world, which this Legends Arceus is not. It's like Legends Arceus is more of like a little more Monster Hunter or like Sly Cooper, I guess, where it's like they're open world areas, but they're all like segmented,
Mm. Mhm, mhm.
which does allow them to make each one feel more unique. without having to come up with like some weird reason why it just transitions from like flame to snow
So,
area.
a
But
contrived reason why you can't. You can't go that far.
well, this game is horrible about that. I will say that that is a major
We don't need to
nitpick.
go there right
It's
now.
not like a so anytime like the world just kind of continues in one direction, and if you like go off of the map, like a thick fog will happen, like will start to appear, and then it'll tell you like that's the edge of the world or something, some message like
Uh,
that, and you just like you're just stopped. So it's like that is a little annoying. It's not a huge thing. It doesn't in any way ruin the game for me, but I would have preferred something a little more. I don't know, like maybe have like mountains surround the area or something. Some reason why it's impassable.
yeah.
Because there's like some areas that like that looks like an area I should be able to explore, and you're just like you just suddenly bump into it. The fog shows up, and you're like, oh no, here it comes. But overall, I'm really liking it. I've been super addicted to it. The At this point now, I'm kind of coming back off of that addiction. The In the late game areas, they're just not as interesting, I think, as the
Yeah.
beginning. Either that, or I'm just like starting to get a little more tired of its formula. But overall, I'm super glad I got it.
Yeah. I was going to say my other concern is just how closely Scarlet and Violet is coming out after Arceus.
Oh, for sure.
It's
Yeah,
like can you not wait a second, Game Freak?
I mean, I know they're two different teams, but
It
still, like
feels wrong.
it does. And like I'm not sure, like I've gotten my Pokemon fix, and I'm sure like by the time I complete the story, I'm pretty close, I think. And by the time I'm done playing Legends Arceus, I'm sure I will be like Pokemoned out. And I'm not sure like if I'll be wanting to play a new adventure at the end of the
Yeah.
year.
And that's part of the That's part of the Pokemon problem is that like every single game has been the same game with a slightly different story.
Yeah.
Like, and this one has introduced a lot of like really exciting new mechanics, but if you boil it all down, it is still the same game that we've been playing since Pokemon was a thing. So,
Well, the combat is the structure is definitely not.
yeah.
I will say that there really aren't like trainers that you encounter in the world. There's nothing like a gym in it. It really is like focusing on the exploration
Hmm.
side. So I will defend the game a little bit. It is something very different, and it's honestly shocking. Like we're lucky to get like one new mechanic innovation in like the next game, and this one has like 100 new things it tries. So I am a little worried that it'll go back on a lot of them for Scarlet and Violet. I'm a little concerned it's going to feel too much like the old games, but I don't know.
If it's just more Sword and Shield, then I'm going to be really, really, I don't know, not upset, just disappointed.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much like most of what I've been playing.
Well, we should
So
probably start wrapping it up then.
yeah, we're about an hour 40 in. So
We managed to make it a long
thank
one
you for
anyway.
listening. Yeah, thank you for listening to the most rambly episode I think we've ever done.
It was fun.
But it was fun. Yeah,
That's what it's all.
and
That's what
then
it's all
tune
about.
in next time for maybe uh, more cohesive, planned out
Yeah,
episode. Maybe not.
we might just do more of this. Let us
We'll
know
see.
in the comments
We,
what you think.
all right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
All right, take care. Ah, video games. Am I right?